Hello, everyone. This is Akata Wester. Thank you so much for joining us again in The Rose of Venus. Today, my guest, she's from Portugal. Her name is Ignez Soares. She has been an astrologer for more than 20 years, and now she has established a kind of astrology which she referred to multi-dimensional astrology, which later on she will explain a little bit more for us. As an introduction to her experience, she has also been 10 years a journalist for Fashion World, as well as a writer of 4 books which are already published. And her latest book, Synastry, is in the process of editing and reviewing, which we shall talk about later on. Thank you. Hello, Ignez. How are you?
Hello, Akata. I'm very nice. Thank you so much for having me here, for the invitation.
Yeah, thank you for joining me. Well, with Ignez, we actually met in Facebook as Galactic Astrology, and I like her posts, her expression, and can really see that her creativities in writing. And so, Ignez, why don't you introduce a little bit of this multidimensional astrology to us?
Okay. Multidimensional astrology is the name I found interesting for a technique that I develop, which consists in working at the same time with 4 zodiacs: tropical, draconic, sidereal, and heliocentric. It all starts with draconic astrology of Pamela Crane. I found this technique very interesting, like unveil a different layer of the self. Draconic astrology is also called the chart of the soul. Then researching the work of Pamela Crane in the 70s, I discovered she used to work with a technique she called interdimensional astrology, and then I adapt on my own way and add a few different elements. And now I work with this technique in consultations. For me, multidimensional astrology is like working with different dimensions of the self. Tropical represents the ego and the personality. Sidereal, the higher self and the consciousness. Draconic, the soul, the memories of past lives. And heliocentric is the more connected to the source. It's like the chart of the spirit, the Dharma path. So putting all this together, I can read the interconnections, the conjunctions and the oppositions and the other aspects of the 4 charts interconnected. So I show to a person not only the abilities she brings to this life, to the matrix, to the material life, which is shown in the traditional natal chart, tropical chart, but also the other layers that compose that person. The goal of all of this is to find the cosmic core. What I found the cosmic core, which is the true essence. They are very beautiful constellations.
Yeah, I think it's like in galactic astrology, we first and most of all, we want to assist our clients to find their soul origin, knowing where they come from. And it gives them a sense of who they really are instead of this physical body here and now. That this is tiny little bit of us.
Of course, and that's why I'm so fascinated and passionate about galactic astrology. Because, in spite of knowing what our soul, our spirit, our self really is, it shows our cosmic and galactic DNA, what we bring to us to this life, what we have to resolve, our tools. So, galactic astrology is also a passion to me that adds a lot of information
Well,
to enlighten.
one aspect that join us together is Andromeda. So
Yeah.
I'm so happy about that. Okay, so in between astrologies in all these years, so you were a journalist for fashion world
Yes,
10
because
years.
yes, I started studying astrology when I was a teenager. My first real course when I took it when I was 18 years old. But then my profession becomes completely different. I turned a fashion journalist, which I was for 10 years and which I love very much. Since I was very little, I always enjoy fashion shows and all that beauty and glamour, and I also love to write. So becoming a fashion journalist was like something that it's on my way, and which I embrace. I write for Portuguese magazines, but also for foreigner magazines. I was an international press. Uh, and a pretty good in what I was doing. But in spite of being a very interesting experience, I met many famous, interesting people. I was one day I found myself disconnected. In a fashion show, I was there and felt no passion. I was like going to a normal job, and for me, my job must resonate with me.
Yeah.
So I knew it was time to stop and discover different things, perhaps.
Well, in certain sense, it is a blessing. Without it, you wouldn't come back to astrology and with your
For sure.
writing.
For sure. When that kind of things happen in our life, we are established and pretty successful in a profession, and we put everything to an end. We need to start over. It's like an identity crisis
Yes.
to us, because when I stopped fashion journalism, I didn't have an idea of what I could be doing next, but I knew it wasn't the same. Then I always loved mythology, and I was reading a lot about Nordic mythology. I I go into a runes course to know more about our European oracle, that it's not very well known.
Mm.
And in class, I have like an epiphany. I was like a click. Okay, I need to go back to astrology, which I was studying 20 years from that time, and I never stopped. I took different courses of astrology, studied for years, and start making my work with astrology. Then I was invited to attend in a yoga center, where I gave classes of astrology too. And it became like, I don't want to call it a profession, but a way of living. Yes, to help people, to
Passion.
enlighten people, and to motivate people to follow their dreams. And that's what I love most to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I really think at the end of the day when we meet a client and is how we can bring out the true essence of this person. Let them know actually there is so much more, maybe something they didn't even realize.
Yes. I felt people these days are completely disconnected of their essence because of cultural motives, family,
Mm.
um, their fears inside. They don't know how to express
Yeah.
themselves. And so when they came to me, I feel they are like their eyes are like starting to open, because any other way they didn't come to my consultations. They want to know who they really are,
Yes.
um, more than know the future and
Mm.
what the universe uh, wants from them to do. They want to know who they really are.
Yes. Yeah.
Their potential that is hidden inside.
Mm.
And that's what I love most, to
Mm.
show their potential.
Is so very interesting. I think that we can also relate a little bit to your final book.
My last book, which is not already published, called Synastry. In English, it's like the subtitle, A Charming of the Universe, something like that. Because I make a deep research about the 1820, about 19th century, the beginning of 19th century in Portugal, that was back then, because of Napoleon, all that fights in the country of liberalism and absolutism.
Mm. Mm.
And my ancestor was like a hero of the revolution, who was a soldier. In the end, he was hanged because he was a liberal. Uh, and his fiance, um, a mysterious character which really exists, because he was in exile in England and he came to Portugal in spite of being pursued,
Mm-hmm.
to see her fiance, and then he was
Captured.
kept, yes, and killed. It was a very sad and beautiful love story. I also love history and genealogy. I actually was in university in a history course, and after that I make a specialization in genealogy. I spent about 3 years researching this ancestor of mine and all the political details, and then I write a book, which is not an history novel, but a science fiction and fantasy and history book, um, because there are a lot of interesting and metaphysical things about us, about me and my ancestor. I don't know if you want me to talk a little about it. I found that we have our draconic moons connected by conjunction in synastry. And that's a very special connection. Maybe because I'm from Andromeda. that that sense of freedom and liberty,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
very, very strong in me, and in him, my ancestor too. So I decided to write a book about this beautiful quantum love of him and his fiancée, which I didn't know her name, but I make a deep, deep research, and I finally found their name, Elena Dulac.
Well, in Italian, we say volere e potere. If you want it, you get it.
That's true. That's true.
So, and I think with our Andromeda characteristic, that sense of freedom, which is a very important part of our life. And I know that Ines has an intention of manifestation, that to move somewhere, a very beautiful place. You want to talk about it?
Yes, I have a dream of going to Bali.
In
Uh,
Indonesia.
yes, I never been there, but I dream of Bali since I can remember. It's maybe for me the most beautiful place on earth. And I love the place I live. I live near the beach, near the river, in a small town, because when I stopped being a fashion journalist, I moved to the countryside in the north of Portugal, a little town, very, very nice, very cozy. But Bali, it's a dream for me because of the energy, maybe the Lemurian energy,
Well,
which attract me a lot.
maybe that explains why we connect with each others. My grandparents, they were born, and my parents, they were born in the Bali Islands.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and do I want to go to Bali? No, I want to go somewhere else. I am trying to manifest it myself. And let's see when we can make our dream, our manifestation, our intention come true.
We will, but we will.
And so now we can see that with Ina's work, she is bringing out so much wisdom, knowledge, and her abilities in creativities, in writing, which I also share her passions in writing myself. And now with the Rose of Venus, we are coming out to to meet a bigger public. And I think in a way that we are doing it also to overcome a sort of shadow, fear that we have bring with us from many lifetimes. Ines, what you
Yes, that resonates very much with me, because for many years I was afraid of telling to people what I was doing about my work with astrology. And in spite of having a family which always support me and motivate me, and I was afraid of telling to people outside my nuclear family that I was working with astrology. My clients come to me because they talk with each other, and then find me because I was very shy. It was very difficult for me to show myself, which it still is. I don't show myself much. I don't talk about what I do, but I think that times are changing, and I feel that. And when you invite me to this amazing moment of sharing, I felt that it was a way of more people can connect, and people may need what we do. It's not right to keep this kind of knowledge to ourselves. We must put it to the world, to enlighten, to show to people how they can connect with the source, with the cosmic core, which is inside, reveal their true self, to live in truth, in
yes.
happiness, in abundance. And I think personal development, it's very important and useful. And astrology, it's not only for me an interesting thing that I like to do because it's cool. It helped me so much to understand myself, to know myself. And when I am with other people in consultation, I feel that the people that go out with that enlightenment, that motivation, that smile, that shine, and that's the most important for me, more than being shy and afraid, which I am a lot. But I'm willing to fight that, to help more people.
And you people, every single one of you that accept my invitation are helping me at the same time. And I still remember my first presentation after I have done it, edited, I was paralyzed for fear on the floor. So here I am, here you are, and there will be many more that join us. And I thank you so much. And what an interesting life. And I think we are bringing our service. It's not a job, it's our passion, it's our service that we can give to a bigger public, more people. And thank you. Thank you for joining me in this.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So thank you so much for joining us. See you next. Bye.